Well, our daughter Kendall is 23 years old. She's a singer-songwriter and she lives out in Los Angeles. And earlier this year, she released her very first single on Spotify. And I got to say, you showed up. I mean, this podcast family, you are the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to Kendall's single Pastime, for sharing it with your friends. You helped that song take off, and it's been exhilarating to watch it happen because she's been working really hard and it feels like now her career's officially begun. And it's so thrilling because it seems like she's got a lot of momentum. Because of the success of the song, all kinds of cool things started to happen. People in the music industry are reaching out to her. And so as I've been watching all this go down over the last couple of weeks from the East Coast, I'm like, oh my gosh, she is riding the wave. She is also back in the studio working on some new songs because, like, it's not just one thing that you do that's going to make you successful. You got to keep on doing the reps. And so I'm over here on the East Coast while she's on the West Coast. And I'm like, yeah, go, go, go. And then all of a sudden, she gets an email. Check this out. Inviting her to come to New York City and perform her new single Pastime at Carnegie Hall. Holy frickin' cow. Oh my God. Can you believe this? And you're probably thinking, how the heck did she get invited to sing at Carnegie Hall? Well, that's a great question. See, a year ago, she met a bunch of incredible musicians at the Newport Folk Festival, and she kept in touch with them. One of them reached out and invited her to join them at this incredible concert called the Piano Recital at Carnegie Hall. It happens once a year. It's produced by Rami Egan. And if you hadn't heard about it, no big deal. The Piano Recital is a bunch of renowned musicians. So like the biggest name there, Mandy Moore. And side note, Kendall grew up listening to Mandy Moore. I mean, she calls Mandy Moore her, quote, musical mom because she had Mandy Moore's album, Wild Hope, on repeat. I mean, played that sucker into the ground. So at the Piano Recital at Carnegie Hall, all these renowned musicians show up. They perform 2 of their original songs. But get this, the only instrument that accompanies them is a piano. Hence, it's called the Piano Recital. It's a super cool, intimate, stripped down thing. And so when Kendall told me, my first reaction was like, oh my God, portal is open, universe is conspiring, holy smokies, I cannot believe it. And the second that she called me, I mean, you can already guess what I was like. I was like all over it. I was so excited for her. I was ready to book her a plane ticket, invite our friends and our family, and make dinner reservations. I started to change all of my work commitments so that I could drive down and obviously be in New York when our daughter steps on stage at Carnegie Hall, right? Because obviously she was going to jump in and do it. And this was happening in 7 days from the email invitation. Like, this was game on. We are in the starting gates. Let's frickin' go. And so, of course, I'm like, yeah, she's going to reply immediately with a yes, thank you, because these were all of her friends and musicians that she had met the summer before, and they were asking her to do this event. And in fact, one of them in particular, his name is Phil Cook. I'll talk about him a bit in this story. He's been like a mentor and a friend to her, had already greased the wheels because she had said, hey, look, dude, I've already arranged Pastime for you on the piano. We're good to go. I'll send the arrangement to you. I'll accompany you on stage. It's going to be awesome. So the second she told me about the invitation, I'm like, game frickin' on. Let's frickin' go. That was not her reaction. Her reaction was not, let's go. It was, oh, hell no. And she let that invitation of a lifetime sit there unanswered for 24 hours. What? What? I was speechless. I couldn't even understand how anyone could stop and think about an opportunity like that. I mean, you're a singer-songwriter. You get this invitation, like your friend is. Why wouldn't you just say, oh, hell yes. Oh, my God. Thank you. I'm on it. Let's freaking go. Mom, book the plane tickets. Get some reservations. Call our friends and family. And I want to slow down this part of the story and truly unpack this moment with you, because it's a moment that you've experienced before. So I'm really going to describe it so you can see it. It's a moment where someone in your life isn't reacting the way you thought they should to what you think is good news. It's a moment where someone in your life isn't jumping all over something that you see as this incredible opportunity. I know you've been there with someone that you love in this moment, and maybe it's happening in your life right now. Someone in your life, they're looking for a new job, and you just met the perfect person for them to network with. And so you give the contact information and the email and the phone number to this person that you love, and they do nothing. Or someone in your life wants to get in shape, and you've asked them, oh my gosh, you're so excited. You're like, let's do this 30-day challenge together. So you text them and say, here's the start date for the challenge. Maybe you've sent them this awesome personal trainer that you love, that you stream classes from, or you told them about the CrossFit box that is in your community that people love, and they do nothing. Or the person in your life says that they want to cut back on their drinking, and yet there they are at dinner. I think I'll have a bourbon Manhattan. Or maybe the person that you love has said, oh, I really want to go back to school. I want to apply to nursing school. And you forwarded them this email about this really cool program that you saw. And you can't understand why they haven't acknowledged it. Why haven't they done it? Why is this person that you care about, that you see all this potential, and why are they not moving on this opportunity? And the more time that passes, have you noticed? You're now in the deep end emotionally, because you start to get frustrated and you have all these opinions about what they should do. And the opportunity to just grab life by the horns and try out for that travel team or apply to that program or do that thing, it's right there. And they do nothing. When are they going to do something about this? I mean, isn't this what they wanted? And let's really play this moment out. Someone you love turns to you and says to you, it's time. I need to find a new job. And that declaration, I need to find a new job, it opens up this window of time. And a day goes by, and then a week goes by, and then a month goes by. And then there they are, standing in their boxers, eating a waffle at 9:45 on a Wednesday morning. And you're thinking, when are you going to get going on this? I mean, why do I care about this more than you? Why are you eating a waffle on a Wednesday morning when you could be looking for a job? And your anger is rising, and you're getting judgy, and you're biting your tongue, and you're kind of angrily washing the dishes. You've done that before, right? Where you're trying to signal to somebody that you're mad that they haven't done something in a month. It's the worst. And for 24 hours, that was the moment with me and our daughter. This opportunity was there, and I could feel the judgment and anger rising up in me. Why are you not replying yes to this email? And with every hour that goes by, I'm getting mad, and I'm trying not to send a text. Those texts where you're like, just send it, just reply this. Come on, just jump in. You're like, stop. Because I'm thinking over here, you got to be kidding me. And it begs the question, why am I getting mad? I'll tell you why I'm getting mad. It's the same reason why you get mad at the people that you love. Because you see the potential, you see the possibility, you believe in them, you know how great they are. And it's a bummer when somebody that you love is not rising to the occasion with the same confidence in themselves that you have for them. And so I bite my lip, and I did a really good job. You would pat your friend Mel Robbins on the back, because for 24 hours I didn't say anything. And then I couldn't stand it anymore. And now I'm starting to get texts from her friend Phil, like, hey, I can't wait to see you. And I'm like, she hasn't even responded yet. And so I called her and I said, are you going to respond to this? she exploded at me. Just like your husband would explode at you as he's standing there in his boxers eating a waffle on a Wednesday morning. And you're like, are you going to send out that resume? He would explode at you because everybody hates being called out. And you're not even calling them out directly. What everybody hates is being reminded that you're bigger than your fears. What everyone hates is being reminded that you're avoiding something that you know you want to do. And my daughter, no different than anyone else. And you know what she said? She's like, stop pressuring me. I think you want this more than I want this. I think you dream of me being a successful singer because you want this for me. I think this is about you. Whew. You're arguing with the wrong person. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I am living my dream already. I thought this was your dream, to be a singer-songwriter performing your songs on some of the biggest stages in the world. And then she said, well, the problem, Mom, is you just assumed I would say yes. And I'm like, of course I did. And then I said the two most important words. I'm confused. I'm confused. Please explain to me how it is that you've always wanted to be a singer-songwriter. You do all of this work to get into the #1 program in the world for this, the popular music major at USC. You do all of this work to write, record, and release your own single, Pastime, as an independent artist. You have all of this incredible momentum. You are doing all of the work. You get an invitation from people who you love, who are here to support you and help you and even arrange the piano part of it so you can sing your new song at Carnegie Hall. I'm confused. How is this not a yes? She had a very compelling answer. It wasn't a yes because she was afraid. Intellectually, it makes no sense, right? Emotionally, it makes all the sense in the world. That's the disconnect. Intellectually, you see somebody's potential, but the person that you love isn't living intellectually, they're living in their emotions. And she felt unworthy of the opportunity. She wasn't sure she was ready. It wasn't lack of desire that was in her way. It was fear and the paralysis that it creates. And then she started to explain like all the stuff that was going on in her mind and in her emotions. Like, I don't deserve this. What are my friends who have been working so hard in their music careers going to think? Like, why did this happen for me? What if I screw this up? I don't think I'm ready for this. Like, this is happening too fast. And this was an enormous takeaway for me and for you about relationships, because you and I easily see the potential in people that we love, and we forget that the people that we love are so overwhelmed by their fears and insecurities. We're the same way. People that love us see our potential. There are plenty of things that you know you should and could be doing, but you're not. And just like you're frustrated with the people that you love, standing there in his boxers with the waffle, not sending out the resumes, there are things that you have said that you've wanted in your life that you're not working on either. And that's why when you love someone and they've declared their goals or their dreams or their desires or their wants to you out loud, whether that's getting a new job or being healthier or cutting back on drinking or running a marathon or growing their business or building a music career. If someone tells you what they want and they're not doing anything about it, or they don't seize the obvious opportunities in front of them, you have a right to feel confused. And I'm here to remind you and ask you to hold space for what your loved one wants, to be a loud advocate for what they want, so that you can help them push through the fear. I want you to remind them of their potential and of the possibility and why it's worth it to push through the emotion and work for it. And this is a very different way of approaching it than pressuring somebody. This is not about telling somebody what to do. I mean, I know from experience, and I'm sure you do too, that pressuring somebody or telling somebody what to do is the fastest way to get them not to do it, right? They will do the opposite. So I've already given you a phrase that you can use to help bring clarity without judgment to a situation where someone that you love has declared what they want, but you don't see them doing anything, or you see them backing away from the opportunity. Use the phrase I used, I'm confused. Lead with that phrase. Because when you come from a place of confusion, you're not attacking someone else. You're basically putting the spotlight on you. I'm confused here. You're gently pointing out that their behavior is not matching what they said they wanted. Here's an example. I heard you say you wanted to find a new job, and I'm confused because I don't know what you're doing about it. Do you need some help? Or here's another example. I heard you say that you wanted to lose 40 pounds, and I'm confused because I haven't seen you exercising in the last few weeks. Do you need some support? And then let them talk. And here's a piece of advice. When you let them talk after you say, I'm confused, I want you to imagine that they're literally going to throw up on you because you've just poked the beast. And if fear or insecurity has paralyzed the person you love, the fear and insecurity is going to come out of their mouth first and attack you. So when you go, I'm confused, you're going to hear, I'm so, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be like, blah, excuses, defensiveness, I'm busy, how dare you, blah, 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 blah. And just keep going, anything else? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have been busy. Yep. Anything else? Mm-hmm. Anything else? Because what finally will come out is the truth. And the truth is that either they know what they want, but they're scared, or they know what they want, but they don't know how to get started. I mean, that was Kendall's response. She was drowning in insecurity, imposter syndrome, and fear. And when somebody is in the deep end emotionally, you need to throw them a lifeline. And here's how you do it. And this is life lesson number 1 from this random evening that I spent in New York City. 4 words. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. Because somebody deep in their emotions needs to be yanked out of the emotions. And so I want you to use those 4 words. It's not that deep. See, when Kendall started talking about her fear, it's Carnegie Hall, oh my God, it's New York, it's this, it's in 7 days. You can hear how you start to just swirl, right? Kendall, it's not that deep. But Mom, it's Carnegie Hall. I'm still here to say, it's not that deep. It's an auditorium that happens to be on the corner of 57th and 6th in a town called New York City. It's not that deep. In fact, you didn't even know that the piano concert was happening until you got this email. It's not that deep because no one else knows about it either. And by the way, if you don't post about it on social media or invite any of your friends and family, nobody that you know will be there. It's not that deep. And besides, you've been performing in front of audiences for 15 years. It's not that deep. One of your mentors is performing. It's not that deep. And as I kept saying this phrase, it's not that deep, she laughed. And she's like, you're right. I'm letting my emotions get the best of me. It's not that deep. And she wrote them back and said yes. And this is a reminder that every situation in life doesn't need to be so damn serious. Everything that you face doesn't need decades of trauma therapy to get through it. The stakes don't need to be so high all the time, but it is so easy, isn't it, to get yourself all worked up in the emotional deep end of your own mind and body? And that's why you need this lesson, number 1. It's not that deep. And I have to credit Kendall because she's the one that actually taught me this phrase. It's not that deep, Mom. It's not that deep. And now I'm using it back on her, which I love even more. And even hearing myself say those 4 words, it's not that deep. It gives me the space when I said it to her. It's not that deep, dude. That, look, Mel, it's not that deep. If she doesn't want to go to New York this coming week and perform at Carnegie Hall, she don't have to do it. It's not that deep. There will be other opportunities. You don't need to worry about this. It's not that deep. It relaxes them. It relaxes you. It lowers the stakes. It allows rational thinking and support to step in. Because the fact is, if she's not ready, she shouldn't do it. If she doesn't want to do it, she shouldn't do it. And if she decides not to do it, it's not that deep. So it also helped me relax into the idea that this is her decision. Let's just get the emotions out of the way. And there's one more thing I want to point out about this first lesson and why it's not that deep will really help you. No one needs pressure from you. They already feel enough of it. Like, let's take the example of looking for a new job. That is a stressful experience, even if you're excited to find a new job. And if you've been laid off and you're looking for a new job, that's even more stressful. So you need the phrase, it's not that deep, so you can lower the stakes and keep your composure and your productivity and your momentum and your clear thinking. And you can use it's not that deep to push yourself forward when you start feeling paralyzed, like everything is so high stakes. No, it's not, dude. It's just a resume. It's not that deep. It's just an interview. It's not that deep. It's just a job offer. It's not that deep. And I can't allow myself to get into the deep end or I'm going to screw myself over. That's why you got to say it's not that deep. So you keep working towards something and not paralyze yourself. And also so that you can keep your wits about you when things do start to work out so you don't blow up the opportunity by getting too emotional. Same thing's true with dating. Yes, it can be very demoralizing to be out in the dating world and to find yourself asking yourself, why is everybody I'm meeting such a loser? Why does everybody else have a significant other, not me? When is it going to be my turn to love? Why don't you start saying, you know what? It's not that deep. The fact is, you haven't met the person who's good enough for you yet. That's why you're still single. See? It's not that deep. Over here, one more. Yes. What's your name?
Delaney.
Hi, Delaney.
Hi. I wanted to start off by saying I listened to your segment with Alex, to those feeling lost in your 20s.
Oh, yeah, she's talking about call her daddy.
You can't call me out like that at work.
Yes, you can. Girl, that is the #1 female-hosted podcast in the world.
Yeah. But I wanted to say, you said earlier in terms of the 5-second rule, the easiest part is knowing what you need to do. I feel like I've been a little overwhelmed lately. What would you say, or the biggest piece of advice when you don't know what you need to do before you save 5 seconds?
Are you talking about work, or are you talking about life in general, or?
I think all of the above, right?
Okay, great question. How many can relate to this? Excellent. Okay, so when it comes to work, a really great habit to get into, especially as y'all are making this big turn, is try to have a quick alignment meeting with the person you report to every Monday. And just go over what's on your plate and recheck in about what are the strategic objectives for this week so that you're aligned with what the person who you're reporting to. Because I'll give everybody the super simple secret other than visibility for being a rock star at work. Make your boss's life easier. Literally, you make the person that you report to's life easier because you're getting stuff done and you're solving problems. And here's the most important thing, you're communicating about what's getting done. You literally are a superstar because your boss is just as overwhelmed as you are. And so if you just touch base, even if you can't get a meeting and you send the 17 things on your plate and you say, I'm a little overwhelmed, I just want to make sure that I know what the priority is this week. Because it is changing all the time because they're responding as much as you are. That's number one. Number two, at the end of the week on Fridays, send a short email saying this got done, this got done, this got done, this got done, this got done. And here are the things I'm going to need your help with on Monday. You keep somebody in the loop like that, they will help you create rails that keep you very focused and feeling more sure about what you're working on, okay? So that's number one, ask for help. Do not try to figure that out on your own. Number two, when it comes to feeling lost in life and overwhelmed in life, always go back to your morning routine. Always go back to your morning routine. And there are 2 rules that I have for my morning routine. Everybody hates them. Nobody follows them. It changes your life. Number 1, do not sleep with your phone. Do not sleep with your phone. And the reason why I say do not sleep with your phone is because we're all addicted to it. If you were addicted to cocaine or alcohol, you wouldn't put it on your bedside table. But, you know, you literally go to bed, and then before you're even out of bed, you literally doing this. And you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And like, if you're laying in bed reading work emails or looking at Facebook, you literally just let your boss, sorry Tia, and all of your friends on Facebook walk in your bedroom. And more importantly, you let the world hijack your mind. So before you're even vertical, you are stressed out, overwhelmed. That one change, which you're not going to want to do, will solve the problem of overwhelm. And here's what I do. I plug my phone into the bathroom every night because it solves two problems. Number one, when that alarm goes off, now I'm really screwed because it's not next to me. So I have to get out of bed. Number two, the phone's not there. So as I wake up and I walk to the bathroom, I'm so mad at myself. But by the time I get to the bathroom, I'm now awake enough that I can turn the alarm off and flip the phone over. I don't pick it up. I don't do it. Even if I post things in the morning, I do that after I take 30 minutes for myself. What do I do in those 30 minutes? Well, I do all the stuff that you know that makes you feel better. I literally journal for a second. I move my body. This is a life changer. If you literally just work out for 10 minutes in the morning, it can be enough. I eat something healthy. I have a cup of coffee. I set my intention for the day. I think about the one thing I want to make progress on. And only then do I then pick up that phone. Then I let the world in. And by getting myself right with myself and setting myself up and giving myself 30 lousy freaking minutes to start the day, to clear my head, to think about what I want out of the day, to take care of myself just a little bit, now I'm in a better place. Now I'm able to do it. And then there's one more exercise. It's kind of a spin on the person you want to be. So my daughter's 23 and had a really rough time with COVID. The last 2 years of her college imploded because of COVID. And she left college basically depressed, really unhealthy, drinking way too much, and she had a meltdown. And so she said, I sat down with her and my husband, and we just were talking with her, and I said, here's what I want you to do. If you ever feel overwhelmed or lost, I want you to draw a line down the center of a paper, and I want you to think back, when was a moment in my life where I felt happy, and I felt like I was happy about where my life was headed? And so my daughter said, senior year in high school. And I said, great, what were you doing then? What was life like then? She's like, well, I was getting up early, I was going to school, I saw my friends every day, I was playing lacrosse, so I exercised 6 days a week, I was only drinking 2 nights a week, I had something to look forward to. I'm like, great, now let's write down what your life looks like right now. Oh, I'm sleeping till noon, my friends have all left and started their lives, I drink every day, I'm not exercising. I'm like, great, compare the lists. You are wired for happiness. You're wired for clarity. You are wired for success. It's why you miss it when you don't have it. You can only miss something you know. The answers are in there. And so like we've said with a lot of the things, even though it's overwhelming, there are ways, simple ways that you can solve this. Go to your boss, start getting aligned, get direction, and then do what they tell you to do. That'll give you the structure right there. Ask for help always. Second thing is, go inside and take a look at what your habits looked like and your days looked like when you felt a little bit more in control, when you felt like yourself, and then compare with what you're doing now. Come back to your morning routine, and you will set yourself up to have a day that feels like you're in control, and that'll change everything. That was a great question. Hi, you did it.
Yes.
You did it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My friend group, we're big fans.
Awesome.
Especially we're transitioning just out of college right now. So, yeah, your podcast with Alex was great timing for me.
What did you get out of that conversation that I had with Alex?
I got, especially the relationship one. I don't know how you said it, but kind of I need to fix who I am first, because like a relationship's kind of like a mirror of what you're feeling in a way.
Even worse, a relationship amplifies what you're feeling.
Yeah.
So if you go after that person and you're feeling insecure, and so you're chasing that person that's the hot guy, and if he only or she or even if the person ends up being with you, you're actually going to feel insecure because you didn't enter the relationship feeling good about yourself. So you're 1,000% right. Work on yourself first, because then you bring that to every relationship, and then the relationship is just additive to you versus amplifying the crap that you're trying to run from. And I only know that after really screwing things up in my 20s and 30s. Like, literally disaster. I would attach myself to people in order to prove that I was okay. And it just made me feel worse about myself because I needed them to feel okay. So when the relationship broke up, I crumbled.
Well, thank you. Can we get a picture?
Of course we can.
I'm struggling with the fact that I feel like I should be getting a lot done. I'm blessed with all this time now, and I'm not getting shit done. I'm not.
Why do you think you should be getting stuff done?
Well, because part of my, when I was really busy all the time, which has been, most of the last 30 years where I've been working with the same company and, building up to an executive position, I always wanted more time. And I was actually have been working on starting my own side business. And time was a constraint. So I'd be like doing training on my commute, on the back, listening to things, fitting in it wherever I can. And all of a sudden I have all this time, and I'm using the time to stress and procrastinate. And of course I have kids. I've adopted my 2 little granddaughters. They're, one turned 5 today and the other one's 6. And so they're off of school. And, so,
well,
and that's...
First of all, let me stop you there. Happy birthday to your granddaughter. And you said that you had a full-time job. Are you working right now?
No, I was furloughed on March 20th.
Okay.
And part of the stress is it's the way that I was furloughed. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I know there is anyway, but it wasn't sort of after the fact. It makes me feel like they don't want me back. And my job was great. I was like the superstar person there for 28 years. And about 2 years ago, they suddenly changed my position and moved me into something I didn't want to do, but it was lateral, but I kind of had no choice.
Yeah.
And it was around the same time that I was starting the process of adopting my grandkids. And I don't know for sure that that's what it is, but I know that that's when I had the schedule where I had more limited hours to work, down to like 45 or 48 instead of, 55 to 60.
So they furloughed you and it feels more like a firing.
Right, because I had to turn in my keys. They shut off my email the next day. Then they called and asked for my laptop, and I said, I'm not using it, but sure, you can have it, but what's the rush? They're like, we're just calling them all in. So then they had somebody come pick it up. This was 5 days after I was furloughed or so, and they cleared out the rest of my office. I took 2 boxes with me when I left because they asked us to clear everything out. And I've been there for, forever. So I had a big office full of stuff. Well, then I had 5 more boxes of stuff. They cleared every desk drawer, everything off the walls. It doesn't
It's not easy.
No. And I have, it's 30 years of my life.
So you're in the same camp as anybody that lost something and didn't expect to lose it, whether it was the college graduation or the internship this summer or a 30-year job.
Yeah.
And so you've got, on one hand, the disruption, how discombobulating and surprising it is, how confusing it is. And we could sit here all day and make up stories about, well, they're just following protocol because gosh knows how long this is going to last. And they're probably just being fiscally responsible. And it'd be a lot harder to get that laptop back 6 months from now if they have to close the whole thing down than to just do it all with everybody right now. Yep. Or it could be, hey, let's use this as a chance to get rid of people that we were wanting to get rid of anyway. I don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. It is a total waste of time to sit and try to figure out what do we think is happening. And so what I want you to do instead is to focus on what you want to have happen now.
Okay.
Because let's assume you're not going back.
Right.
You are now the primary caregiver to a 6 and a 5-year-old. you have a side business, and you cannot seem to be able to focus. And the reason why you can't focus is a combination of all of the disruption that happened in your life and the stress it creates, and add to it the pandemic and all the stress that that creates. Add to that any of the financial issues that you may be thinking about and all the stress that that creates. And when you feel stressed in your body, Heidi, I want you to understand that what happens is it rises the level of cortisol in your body. And when cortisol hits this part of your brain, it impacts your ability to focus. So there's a direct connection between an increase in stress and anxiety and worry and a decrease in your ability to direct your focus.
Okay.
And so the other thing that makes this really difficult, and I can see you getting emotional, what's coming up for you?
It's just a huge part of my identity has been my career.
Yeah. And you know what else has been a huge part of your life? Because this is something that I am experiencing, is I was what you call an over functioner. Very busy, constantly on the move.
Yes.
And right, and you are probably a bit of an extrovert too.
Yeah.
And so the nature of what we're going through has also highlighted the fact that you stayed busy as a way to not have to deal with the things that stress you out. And when somebody like you or me gets forced to slow down, all this stuff comes up that we don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And the more that you resist all of these feelings, the longer you're going to stay spinning, and the longer that you're going to not be able to focus. And what you need, given that the way that your life used to be just got ripped from you, is you need to come up with a plan for what you're going to do next.
Right.
So are you going to look for a job? Are you going to do something else and invest in this side hustle? What are you going to do?
Okay, well, I might say it turns out if I don't get called back to work by June, I thought it would be smart of me to make a move to the mainland. Because the way things were going last year with my job, and I've always been this star performer and everything, just a star performer, part of the team, really close with everybody at work. And last year, for the first time, I had a poor review. I felt like things that were said were not even.
Okay, so can I just slow you down?
Yeah.
Because what I just heard you say is that even going back a year, you got your first poor review, and you can feel that things are going like this.
Yeah.
And that is a piece of data that's very important. And you said you were going to wait until June to see if they bring you back. And if they don't bring you back, then you're going to make a move to the mainland.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to unpack for you.
Okay.
I am working on a book on decision making. And I want to road test an idea with you.
Okay.
Because when I hear you say that things were going downhill, but you're going to wait until they decide, what I hear is somebody giving all the power to somebody else.
Okay.
And I believe that there are only two kinds of decisions that we make. We make what I call a noisy decision, or we make a quiet decision. And I want to teach you right now how to make a quiet decision.
Okay.
A noisy decision is the type of decisions that most of us make all the time. They are driven by the noise of what's going on around us, driven by the noise of fear, driven by the noise of anxiety, driven by the noise of pleasing other people, driven by the noise of being a good girl, driven by the noise of your self-doubt, driven by the noise of all the things that you do and have always done in the way that you've always done them. And then there's the quiet decision. And a quiet decision is one where you take a deep breath and you tune out all the fear and all the shit that everybody else is saying, and you go in here and you ask yourself, what do I want? And so let's do that right now.
Right.
If you remove fear from the equation and you remove all of the noise and the doubt and overwhelm and everything you're feeling, don't worry about the how, don't worry about the when of whatever. I want you to just go right in here and get very quiet. Quiet enough so that you can hear your own voice for a second. What do you want?
This is what I was thinking about late last year, when I started doing Best Decade Ever. I started, thinking about that, and so I wanted to come up with an e-commerce business, and I've been studying towards that because I want to have time freedom, especially at my age. I'm 55, and I have 2 little kids that I need to support, and all the way through that. I love that they keep me, I don't know what I can do without that right now. But, so I want to have flexibility and time freedom. And I did think about this last one. I actually bought a property in my hometown that I grew up in. I took out a loan for the down payment out of my retirement account. And
so can I ask you a question? Because here's what I hear. I hear you saying you want to pursue this side business, and that you want to move.
Yes, it's hard to be quiet, but I think it's the best thing.
Okay, so listen. So when you tune out the noise and the fear, what do you want? Say it to me specifically without explaining why.
Yeah, I want to move, and I want to move and start a new life, start over again.
Terrific. Okay, there you go. There's your decision.
Yeah.
So fuck what this company does.
Yeah.
You want to move.
Yeah.
And that is a quiet decision. It's a decision that chooses you. It's a decision that comes from courage. It's a decision that is purposeful. And so now what we do is move into the execution part of that decision. We have decided you're moving.
Okay.
So when are you moving?
I think August, September latest.
I want you to pick a date.
Okay. I'll just say August 31st.
Terrific. August 31st, you're moving.
Okay.
You've just made a quiet decision. Now it's your job to figure out how to get it done and what steps to take when.
Okay.
What does it feel like right now to know that you've made a decision?
In a way, it feels calm. In another way, I start going, okay, I have to do this, that's coming up for me, but it's also like, calm. I've been leaning towards this decision, but I have people saying, well, you're not going to give up your job.
That's the noise.
Yeah.
So other people are making a decision not to do it for you. That's why you got to tune out the noise and tune into what you're quietly telling yourself.
Yeah.
And so you have just made a decision. You're going to move. And all I invite you to do for the next 5 days, you don't have to do anything. You've already, I'm sure, applied for unemployment. I want you to just sit with this decision. I want you to start to get excited about the decision. And starting this weekend, you can start making a plan to make the decision happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I always say you're one decision away from a different life. And that's because when you're swirling in uncertainty and self-doubt and confusion, one decision will cut through all of that noise that's keeping you stuck, and it will give you clarity, purpose, and confidence. And that's what you just did today.
Having been somebody that was in a scary place financially just over a decade ago.
Mhm.
I want you to explain what will happen to somebody with crushing student debt or who's having trouble just making the ends meet right now and they don't have a lot of savings. How will doing this exercise change their psychology about money starting today?
Yes, thank you for asking this, because if you are in large amounts of debt, whether student loan, credit card, even mortgage for some people, some of this can sound really airy-fairy. And I'm the last guy to get accused of us all sitting around the campfire saying kumbaya. I'm like, look, I'll talk about psychology, but we're also going to talk about the numbers. And so what I want to emphasize to people is that we often have this belief that we're overwhelmed with money. Okay, it's easy to feel that way. But when I ask people, show me your spending, what percentage of your income is going to housing or investments? I would say 99% of people do not know. Okay, so how can we?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I literally don't know.
Yeah, totally. It's very common. And so how can we feel in control of something if we don't understand the basic mechanics of it? Even when we drive a car, we got to know how to turn the ignition on, or, reverse. So we go through life in this very arbitrary transactional way of like, okay, this bill came in, I'm going to pay it. This bill came in, that feels really bad. It's transactional, it's reactive. And what I'm encouraging you to do is to go from defense to offense with your money. That means once you set the intention of an Italy trip, if you're in crushing debt, you may go, hey, Ramit, I actually cannot afford to put $100 a month away. I go, okay, well, why don't we write that down, $100 a month towards Italy, but you can't do that today. That's totally fine. Next, we're going to go through your 4 key numbers in the conscious spending plan. Let's make sure you understand your numbers, and you will be quite surprised that a lot of people discover they have more money than they actually realized once they go on offense with their personal finances.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what are the 4 things that we all need to go through?
Everybody needs these 4 numbers. This is what I use instead of a budget. I don't keep a budget. You think I'm going to sit around tracking the price of asparagus for the rest of my life? Hell no. Okay. I don't want to live that kind of life.
I don't want to live that kind of life either. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So 4 numbers that you should know. These are all part of my conscious spending plan. The first is your fixed costs.
Okay.
So that would include your rent or mortgage,
Yep.
your utilities, car payment, gas, insurance, anything that's fixed, even groceries every month, that goes there.
And what about the minimum debt payment, or is that part of another category?
Yeah, that counts there exactly. Thank you. And that number, you should try to get it between 50 to 60% of your take-home pay. Okay. Let me run through these all, and then I'll tell you what they mean. 50 to 60% of your take-home pay for fixed costs. Next up, your savings. How much money are you saving every month? This should be roughly 5 to 10% of your take-home. And savings would be an emergency fund or money you don't need for at least 1 to 5 years. Things like a down payment for a house, etc. Next up would be investments. Roughly 5 to 10% of take home, although I like to see it higher because investing early in life pays dividends later.
Okay.
And then
shame for Mel Robbins, did not invest early in life. I'm just going to let that one go and focus on my dream list. Okay. Just wanted to acknowledge that when you said that, because
look,
people say that and I'm like, fuck, I didn't do that. Okay.
Well, I wish I started deadlifting when I was 13 years old, but I didn't even know what that was, So we all start from the place we start at.
That's true.
Okay. The last category is my favorite one of all. It's guilt-free spending. And this is 20 to 35% of take-home pay.
What?
Now, yeah, that's right. Desserts. Mel, go get them. Beautiful cashmere coat. That's for me. Go get them. You want to get roller skates. You want to go to your gym. 20 to 35% of take-home. Now, let me tell you why I love this and why I'm getting excited about 4 numbers.
This.
Okay. So many of us shrink our lives and we agonize over some stupid $5 purchase. You really think coffee is going to change your life? It's irrelevant. It does not matter how much coffee you buy. So please stop thinking about that. The same people who and I go, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know anything. I go, what's your savings rate? They go, what's that? How much are you investing? Well, I try, but I don't really know. Okay, how are you supposed to feel not overwhelmed if you don't know any key numbers? So know the 4 numbers and you will suddenly feel totally in control. Some of you aren't going to be able to hit these numbers. That's okay. At least we can work with it. We got the puzzle pieces on the table. Now we can start assembling your rich life.
Wow. Okay. I think I can do this.
Yeah.
So you just like carve out some time on the weekend and get your arms around these 4 things.
Yeah, which should take 15 minutes. Do not overthink
it's
it.
going to take me a while. Really? It
Wait,
takes
why?
15 minutes?
Yeah, but here's what people do.
How do you do it?
Because the biggest challenge is people don't have the right logins. So their logins are spread all. They got their Fidelity account or some old 401k or whatever. So I would recommend breaking it up into 2 days.
Okay.
The first day is just get all your stuff assembled.
Love it.
Right? It's like cleaning the garage. And then the second day, 15 minutes and done. Do not overthink it.
Okay.
We're going for
love you.
approximate numbers.
Okay.
That's it.
I love you. I love you, love you, love you. You have that, what is it, the 85% rule? Get 85% of this right, you're good.
Get on with your life. You don't need to sit there and optimize everything. It's a waste of time.
And I also love this because, like, it can feel so insurmountable when you've made major financial mistakes in your life.
Yeah.
That this gives you a place to start that you can then start to get better from. And I just actually had a huge wake-up moment. I realized that one of the great things about growing up with parents who were very, I didn't ever see any concern about money, and I didn't see them talking about it. Actually, that's not true. I would see my mother sitting at her desk with one of those little calculators with the tapes as she was balancing her checkbook.
Hey, that's a really important thing that you saw. You saw a woman taking control of money,
yes,
and obviously, and being capable and competent. That is a very valuable lesson to learn as a child. That obviously has come through for you. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, and she then went on to open her own retail store. And all the women, like my grandmother's a farmer and ran the money, and she had a calculator with the tape.
Amazing.
And my other grandmother, my grandparents had a bakery, and she had the thing with the tape. But what's interesting is that I think it's chill aspect has gotten too hands off for me. The fact that I can't answer those numbers like that at this stage in my life, for me, it used to be because of fear and shame and how bad the numbers were. I used to be one of those people that the bills would arrive and I would just not open them.
Yeah, common.
And because it was confronting to see the debt and confronting to see how much I had spent because I was, basically shopping to escape my life with money that I did not afford or that I didn't have. And then you'd open up the bills and be like, fuck.
Yeah, I guess I spent that much.
Yeah, I don't have that money. And so it used to be that, but I think now that I've paid off all the debt and I have savings and I've, maniacally saving, I don't look at it at all still.
Okay. Let's talk about a couple things that are so interesting about what you just said. I love the honesty. All of us have something in our lives that we feel like we should be doing better. And we kind of push the envelopes away. And I deeply understand this because for me, it was fitness. And I grew up half joking, calling myself a skinny Indian guy. And I really wish I had not said that because it became part of my identity. And, if any of us say something like, I'm bad with money, I would gently encourage you to not say that. Maybe reframe it and say, gosh, I haven't learned the skills of money yet, but I'm changing that now.
I want to stop right there. Hold on a second. I apologize for interrupting you, but this is so important. Yeah. If you just heard Ramit say, I'm bad with money, I want you to pay attention loud and clear because he's absolutely right. Or if you say something like, I don't understand, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm not good with math.
I'm not good with math. What are other things that your students say, Ramit, that really crystallize a terrible psychology around money?
My family's never been good with money. We're all bad. I'm never going to get out of this debt. We always fight about money, and I'm just an overspender.
Or my husband
Yeah.
took care of the finances.
Oh, classic. Oh, that drives me insane. Hold on, I'm getting mad, but I'm getting mad at multiple things right now. So let me take them each in turn. Okay, first off, what you said about not opening envelopes, and then now as you've become much more financially successful, it's almost swung the other way, is totally common. In my experience, once people start earning around $150,000, they stop really paying attention to the numbers because they basically make enough to not have to really pay attention. And actually, I'm a little okay with that. I don't want people agonizing over the price of groceries if they're making $150K. But what I do want, and what I do for myself, is I spend 1 hour per month on my finances. That's it. Just 1 hour. I review the CSP. My wife and I talk about money.
Hold on. The CSP was that conscious spending plan of the four
Correct.
things: fixed cost, what's your automatic savings, your investments, and then the category I love the most: guilt-free fucking spending. People, let's
There you
go.
Wow,
Okay.
I love it. You added the F word. That's so good. I got to add that. That's beautiful. It is exciting. Okay, so all those things. When you have money carved out for guilt-free spending, it is literally defined so that if you want to eat and get an extra cheesecake, or you want to go to the movies, like, you don't have to feel guilty because you know my debt is being paid off, my rent or mortgage is being covered. I'm even saving money. I'm not trying to save money, just like I don't try to brush my teeth. It is happening automatically. It's even better than brushing. So that is, if you're listening, I hope that's a sense of relief that you don't have to feel bad about having debt. You do not have to track a gajillion numbers that you don't even care about. You do, and I would highly encourage you to focus on 4 key numbers that will totally transform your life.
I love this. I love how easy you're making this. Thank you for that.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I don't want to spend time doing that either. I don't want anyone else to waste their time on it.
May I just, I want to clarify one thing. So these 4 pillars of the conscious spending plan, and again, I come from the lived experience of crushing debt.
Yeah.
Where you feel that unless you can get to zero balance, you don't deserve guilt-free spending.
Yeah.
That somehow you're cheating on your goal to get out of debt, which is what every financial advisor pounds into your head.
Yeah.
And you feel like that latte robs you of the opportunity to be out of debt. You feel like spending to go on a trip with your friends robs you of the ability to be out of debt. And what you're saying is, no. You can start right now by figuring out these 4 things and allocating incoming to those things.
Correct. We have a very unhealthy relationship with money in this country. On one hand, we have a puritanical strain that tells us, do not buy anything, and you're a bad person for having debt, and you should live in a monastery until that debt is paid off, and then maybe you can go buy a pack of gum, okay? On the other hand, we're like, okay, hold on, let me look at Instagram. Oh, my friend's in Bora Bora on Tuesday. Ooh, I think I'm going to go take a trip, even though I don't even know how much I have in the bank. What a 2 paradoxical beliefs, and usually it's the consumerist one that wins, but we still feel guilty.
Yes.
We love to feel guilty in
Yes.
this country. I don't really know I don't want to feel guilty with money. I'm not naturally like, I don't feel guilty. I'm just like, let me just fix this. So when it comes to having debt, here's my belief. Number 1, you need to know how much you owe. 90% of people I talk to who are in debt do not even know how much debt they owe. That's number 1. You got to know your numbers. Number 2, you've got to know the exact month and year your debt will be paid off. 95% of people in debt do not know their debt payoff plan. Easy way to do it, literally go on Google, type debt payoff calculator, plug your numbers in, and you will see. And don't worry if it seems depressing. Oh, it's going to take 28 years. What I want you to do is just plug the number in and sit with it for a day. And later, you will learn things like wow, if I add an extra $50 a month, it can shave off 3 years from my debt. But that comes later. I just want you to
you know what else I also
acknowledge
love
it.
that you're saying is I love that you're saying it's okay to have it. Like most rich people actually finance a lot of things. And and that
debt.
go ahead. You're the expert. I don't know why the hell I'm talking about money. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, whether it's okay or not, a lot of people have debt.
Yes.
So let's just accept us for who we are.
Yes.
That's the fact of life. Now, I do want you to get smarter with debt. So when I look at people, I always look at a snapshot of their finances. And I talk about all these numbers on the podcast, by the way. We have folks who come on $800,000 of debt. They're not even sure. Really? Are you serious?
Well, that was me over a decade ago. Yeah, when the liens hit the house.
Okay.
No
So
college savings, no 401k, credit cards maxed out, home equity line maxed out, plowed it all into my husband's restaurant business. Did not go according to plan. I lost my job. Liens hit the house. He hadn't been paid in 6 months. Friends and family had invested. Holy fucking hell. That was my life.
Okay. So you really know
Oh,
what it's like.
Yeah, this is not a joke. This is...
It's like you think about it every day of your life when you're in it.
Yes. And in fact, there's research, I believe, that says that the number is $75,000 or $78,000 in the United States is what you need to make in order to be relieved of the day-to-day financial stress that you have. That when you reach that number, there's a level of freedom involved. I don't know if that's true or not.
I know the research.
What is it?
It's not people have wildly misinterpreted it. Let me put it this way, and I want to correct it because people listening who are making $75,000, they're like, wait a second, why do I still feel so stressed? What's wrong with me?
Right.
And there's not something wrong with you. Nobody is broken with money. Nobody. There are ways for you to get informed about money, so you know the basic language of money, which anybody can do. You do not have to be a math genius. I'm not. And second, to work on improving your money psychology. You know, I spoke to a couple on my podcast, and they were in a lot of financial trouble, and they think about it every day, and they were so stressed out. And I asked them, have you read my book? Not judging. It turns out like almost nobody who comes on my podcast reads my book, which I find hilarious. And so I said, okay. And they go, well, I haven't really read a lot. I said, okay, you're a new parent. She was a mom. I think her baby was about like 6 months old. I said, when you first had your baby, did you know how to hold her? She goes, no. Did you know how to feed her? No. Did you just wing it? Did you just tried your best, No. I got help. The nurses, my mom. I read a bunch of books, and on and on and on. And that is so normal. There are things in life we don't know. That's okay. But we do have to say, hey, this is important to me. My rich life is important. I deserve to dream bigger than a box of pickles. And therefore, I'm going to prioritize learning and also improving my psychology.
If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like the world is coming at you, if you feel like you're spinning a million plates and juggling a million things right now, and you're starting to get concerned because you're dropping balls and you can't figure out what you should focus on first, this video is for you. I woke up today totally overwhelmed. I got really emotional on a team call because I feel like I'm dropping a million balls right now. This morning, there were a bunch of emails that people had sent me. Hey, did you forget about this? Hey, could you get back to me on this? I got a couple text messages from very close friends of mine that I had promised blurbs to for their books. And I said I would do it. I didn't do it because I'm not organized right now. I'm just dropping balls. I'm overwhelmed. So my husband, Chris, came into the kitchen where I'm working at that table back there and had everything spread out, just stuff everywhere. He sat down with a piece of paper and he forced me to spend an hour with him basically doing what I call a brain dump, where you dump everything out on paper. But this particular brain dump had a unique structure to it. I want to share it with you because I want you to partner up with somebody in person or virtual and do this for each other. So he took out a blank piece of paper. He had me open up my email and my calendar and go email by email by email and walk him through one project at a time, what needed to get done. And then he would ask me follow-up questions. And when would you need to start that? And what help do you need with this? And is there anything else? And what else needs to happen? And he just wrote everything down. As we kept going, if there was anything on the list that could be done in a minute, send an email, quickly make the phone call, we just knocked it off. And then we kept going. And as I would bring a sense of urgency to some task, he would say, well, wait a minute, is this actually a priority today, or can we schedule it for tomorrow? Is this a priority that we could do for next week? Having an objective third party write it all down for you, ask you these questions, it was liberating. Absolutely liberating, because half the stuff I've been panicked about, I don't even need to work on until Monday. What happens when things start to stack up is everything starts to feel urgent. And because you're the one that's starting to feel buried alive underneath all this stuff, it's very, very hard for you to be objective about getting yourself organized again. But having an objective third party there, game changing. Actually, let's go talk to Chris. Let's talk to Chris and see. Chris, can I ask you a question? He's probably annoyed. I was just talking about how transformative that was that you did with me. See this list that he's got right there? And what would you recommend if other people were doing it? I just said you got to show up with a blank piece of paper. You ask the other person to go, well, why don't you tell us the steps? Can you tell us the steps that you just did with me?
The only thing I didn't have other than a pad of paper and a pen was handcuffs. That would have been useful.
Why? Would you say that?
I think other than a pad of paper and a pen, it took extreme discipline to just listen and wait and listen and wait, be patient and listen, and just keep trying to keep you on task from email to email, just so that you can get it out. I don't know. I don't relate to it like rocket science. The hardest part is actually just
Sitting down with somebody and asking for help?
yeah, and putting up with whatever they need to do or process or be anxious about, and bite your lip and just keep going. I'm glad you found it helpful.
Extremely helpful.
Such that you're now
Making a video.
relaxed.
I know it's not on
and-
the I know it's not on the list of things I was supposed to do today, but
No.
I was just inspired because it was incredibly helpful to have some objective person help me get out of the spinning analysis paralysis that I was in around feeling overwhelmed by everything that I need to do.
Well, that's also half the battle with you and I, because I'm not sure you always perceive me to be the objective party, because I have.
This is getting into marriage counseling
have
now,
my-
so I think we're going to end the video right now. Okay,
I have-
goodbye, everybody. Just get a partner and get a blank pad of paper, and you listen for your friend or loved one. Write everything down. Ask lots of questions. Bite your lip. Be patient. Have them get it out, get it out, get it out. Help them stay focused, and then swap and do the same. There you have it. Let us know if that helps you stop feeling paralyzed and overwhelmed. I think this is an area where tons of people struggle. And when people write in and say, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do with my
The
life.
first thing is you limit the options. You don't take the indecisive to 31 movies. You take them where there's only a couple. You don't bring them to a smorgasbord buffet, because they'll just stand there and go, oh my God, look at all the food. You go eat, okay? No, you limit the options for the indecisive. Do the math, as they say. There are pro and con lists, also not considered effective. But if you do this twist to pro and con lists, it works. You create the pros and con list, and don't just look at which one's longer. Look at within that list, which items do you value? What's more important? The pro list may be short, all right, but it has things that you value more than the con. And this may sound odd, but take your time, all right? In other words, make an informed decision. Don't stall, ponder, pause, but produce. If you want to walk on water, you got to get out of the boat. If you want to succeed, you've got to take that risk. And so what would you fail? So what? Okay? Okay.
What happens in your brain when you procrastinate?
Why are you going there? Okay? We just said it's learned. Why are you looking for the physiological explanation? Because first of all, we don't know.
Okay.
All right? And I don't mean to do that just because I'm a pompous butt. It's also the truth. Let's stop turning for the excuse that, there's a brain thing going on, and therefore that's why I procrastinate. If you're going to do that, then you're not going to change, and that's okay. I mean, you have a right to live in misery as one wants to.
I think it's incredibly encouraging that it's learned, because I agree with you. That means you can change it. And I also heard you loud and clear. Forget the time management crap. Based on the research, none of that stuff is going to work for you if this is something that you're chronically doing. And you also said very clearly, there is no short list, there is no quick fix, there is no top 10 tips when it comes to procrastination, because this is about the story you've told yourself, the habits that you've formed, and that you avoid, or seek pleasure instead of doing whatever the hell it is that you need to do. And it's become a habit. What's the link between perfectionism and procrastination?
There is a link, but they are separate concepts. It all goes down to that failure. You see, that perfectionistic person has to believe that I do well all the time. I've got to be perfect. It could be, as I said, others imposing this to me, society imposing this to me, or it could be I'm concerned about my failures. So again, it's multidimensional, all right? Procrastination is also concerned about the failure, and so I want to avoid it. Avoidance strategy that society says is okay. It all has to do with failure and that public image.
I think a lot about the person listening and the ache that you live with when you can't get out of your own fucking way. We're in 194 countries. Most of the people listening either can't afford the PhD cognitive behavioral therapy program that you're talking about. And so for a person who really is aching because they are in their own way, they see themselves sabotaging, what can somebody that doesn't have access to what you're talking about do in their own life after
baby
hearing
steps.
this? What are the baby steps?
Start small. First of all, what you're doing is you're looking at the forest, and you're missing that the forest is made up of trees.
Okay.
There's that old expression, don't miss the forest because you're focused on the trees. That's not the procrastinator's problem. It's the other way around.
Oh.
They see the forest. Oh my God, this is a huge task. Holy cow, I can't get all of this done. And they forget that the forest is made up of trees. So listener, viewer, all right, it's made up of trees. And so what if you cut down one tree at a time? Oh, that's too much for you? Then let's give me 3 branches. You can't do 3 branches? I'll take a handful of leaves. Start small. Do something. And so what if you fail? So what? This is what cognitive therapists would ask you to do. What would be the worst scenario?
Let me give you some examples of things that people listening to
and you're
this show.
asking me to do the street corner therapy again.
No, I am not. You just told us to look at the trees. That is a concept. And I am on a mission to break down intellectual topics and research and conceptual ideas into tactical takeaways so that somebody knows what the hell you're talking about when you say,
you want the cures.
I don't want the cures. That's bullshit. What I want is I want just one step, because I see people writing in every day, listening to conversations between PhDs or people that are talking at a level that is all academic. But when you finish listening to this podcast, Dr. Ferrari, I don't want somebody to feel worse because they don't know what a tree means in their life. And so if somebody writes in and says, I procrastinate on working out, and it's chronic, like this is one thing that really bothers me. what would a tree be in that example?
Sure. I take exception. I'm known in 40 years of teaching to take the jargon and to make it the streetwise.
I think you do. I'm taking it a step further
So
because
I
I
don't
don't
think
have a
this is an egghead
PhD.
talk.
I don't think it
feel
is
that
either.
That's what this is.
You don't need to get offended. That's not what I'm talking about.
well,
I'm just I
you
am
threw it
I
out
am
there.
the advocate for the person listening.
Absolutely, and so am I.
Who
Okay, I would say that person is giving us that 80%. I'd ask the person first, is this the only thing? Is working out the only thing you procrastinate on? Do you procrastinate in other areas of your life? And if they start telling me, well, yeah, no, I do that. And yeah, that's true too. And I don't like to do that. Then I say, okay, now then you're moving from that procrastinator to procrastinating to the procrastinator state. And that's something different. And I understand that many of you can't afford a good professional to help you through that. I understand that. Don't look at it time management. That's one of I gave a number of takeaways, but I think one of them is don't think you just have to manage your time. That's not going to work for you. It's like dieting. You'll start in the beginning, but you'll give it up. The person with who doesn't exercise, can you make something you like to do? I said this before, something you like to do, reinforce that you'll exercise. I don't like working on a treadmill. So when I'm on the treadmill, I'm reading my prayers. I know it'll take me about a good 20 minutes to do that, and so I can get at least 20 minutes of exercise. Pair it with something you don't like to do. That would be my street corner answer to that one. Does that help?
I think it really helps. When you take that beautiful analogy of you can see the big picture, but you can't focus every day on one freaking tree. Is there something, and I hear all of the advice, the pair it with something that you enjoy, break it down.
Yeah, it's all part of self-care. Show care to yourself. Listener, please. All right, you've got to make time. Take time for yourself. Now, the next day, do a little bit more. Make love a habit of the heart. Wow, last week I only spent 2 minutes on it. This week I'm up to 7 minutes. Now you could say, only 7 minutes. I say, wow, yahoo. That's 7 minutes more than you did before.
How do you know if you're making an excuse or you have a valid reason?
That is such a wonderful question. Why are you shopping now instead of later? And that was fascinating because I found two categories of these procrastinators, excuse makers. Some of them attributed to themselves. Well, I'm shopping now because I can't decide on gifts. I really don't like shopping. It's really unpleasant for me. So it's my fault, self-reasons. So people will give external excuses, not my fault, that cannot be verified, that cannot be judged by other people. So you say, how do you judge? And so therefore, these people will give us excuses that can't be judged by others to be true or false. So that's fascinating.
You know what I found fascinating about that? Is that when you said the excuse is aimed at you, it's my fault. That made my heart sink because when you always aim it at yourself, I would imagine that makes you feel even more stuck or more ashamed or more beaten down.
Yes. Make a change. Yes, you're absolutely right. The self-devaluing, the self-criticism, it can be paralyzing and demoralizing, and it's just not right. People shouldn't be doing that. It'll take you a while, but it can happen.
Just started a new business last year at 55. I'll be 56 this year. My question to you was, well, first, a couple of things. You were sent to me, just like Tanya had mentioned. I am a God-fearing spiritual woman, and you were definitely sent in my feed from God because, there's times that people think I'm crazy and I say, talk to me, but they can think whatever they want. But you were sent because I had asked for, I felt like I was doing the business. It was becoming overwhelming. It was so much to learn. I am a interior designer. Loved it. Have been doing things over in my family, friends, clients' house since I was a little girl. I say about 8. So have always had the love for this. Styling and design is a part of my DNA. I am a hairstylist by trade, clothing designer by trade. I've done it all. But this was the one that stuck with me. I love doing this. But back to the original, I just felt like I was overwhelmed. I felt like I was stuck. I took a little time off from my classes. I'm certified stager and redesigner, and eased it into design now. But it's only been just made it a year with my business. My thing was about 3.5 years ago, I just drove up here to take my grandson to his appointment. He's getting ready to turn 16. So about 3.5 years ago, a big change was in my life. Once again, God set this thing up. I thought I was all ready. I'd saved up my funds. I thought I was getting ready to head to Paris. And Paris was rerouted. Paris was rerouted. I'm originally from Philly. I'm a Philly girl. And it was rerouted to the suburbs of Philly. And I didn't quite understand. So I left it in God's hands and he kind of showed me. So it was a point for me to bring my family together. Not just my grandchildren, because 4 of them live with me now. Mm-hmm. So I raised my 2 and now I'm raising 4 grands. So a little different. The trip to Paris didn't happen yet, but it's coming. It's coming because plus I'm going to Japan with Elena. So, you know. But I made a lot of changes, had to make a lot of changes, a lot of adjustments. And I still sometimes each day wake up not knowing how I do this, but I know it's definitely God embedded in me. My biggest thing was sometimes when I said I prayed for you and you came in my feed. And the reason I signed on to B school is because it was just the next dynamic that I had to learn. I needed to say, okay, I might not be a licensed designer, but I got this thing. Okay. And I've been doing this a long time and skills outranks any of them. I don't care what you say, but
yes.
So I was there with all of that, but then I'm like, okay, I need more marketing. I need, and this one company reached out to me and literally they were like, okay, we can get you up and rolling, interior design, and it'll be 12,000. Do you have it tomorrow?
No.
Yeah, right.
No.
Okay.
No.
Right. Well, you know how that
How
works.
old's your oldest grandchild?
6. Well, he'll be 16 in May.
Excellent. So is he the gentleman that was sitting next to you?
Yes. No, he listens to you. I have him listening to you.
What's his name?
Jaden. He just went in the building though.
So Jaden is your head of marketing.
Yes, I just made him that this week. You want to hear something?
Yeah, tell me.
I said to him, I need an assistant. And this is a business that I'm building as a legacy. I need an assistant. You're 15, get ready to turn 16. And there's a reason why you're not getting these jobs because you need to be right here. So I'm going to give you some work and we'll allot, an amount for you to get paid. And I need your assistant. And he was like, well, yeah, I'm my mom. So I'm mom to the second power. So I said to him, listen, well, I'll work out a price for you. He was like, no, you don't have to pay me. Oh, no. You must be paid. You must be paid. So we just literally had that conversation yesterday.
Okay. So here's why I'm saying this. The reason why I'm saying this is because what you need is not somebody else that can market you. You need somebody capturing the stuff you're doing. So you need photos of the things you're staging. You need before and afters. You need, the company Studio McGee?
Oh, very well. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know that her husband was in digital marketing.
Okay. Yes.
So she had a small little business.
Right.
And he started helping her market. And so I want you follow her already. Mm-hmm. I also want you to follow a woman by the name of Amber Lewis. Amber Lewis. And the reason why I am just telling you these two, and they're really big names. So I'm going to drum up a couple other folks that are kind of more in the 100,000 followers.
Okay.
But there's a couple different things, like your Instagram account is your business because you are showing people photos of your work.
Right.
You're showing people before and after staging companies. Whenever you are hired by a real estate agent to come in and stage something or an event planner to stage an event, you are to tag those people because then they're going to repost it.
Right.
And
Right.
then people see your work. The other thing that I want you to talk to your grandson about
Mhm.
is that just like we were talking with Scarlett's business about Shopify,
Yeah.
Shopify enables you to sell products that
Right.
you don't have in a store. So for example, do you ever use, for example, do you know Visual Comfort, that lighting company?
No, I'm not
Well,
familiar
there's
with
like a lighting company called Visual Comfort. It's a big,
that. Okay.
but most of the major brands these
Mhm.
days will drop ship, meaning this.
Oh yeah.
Let's say that you have a favorite couch that you use all the time. And every time you photograph it, right, you can put it into Shopify so that your Instagram photo, you can tap it and click directly to buy it.
And I just learned about Shopify with
Yep.
Maria.
And they're not going to, you don't, in some cases, you can pass them directly. Like, for example, I am an affiliate on Marie's course. It's the
Right.
first time I've ever done it. I'm not launching a business course. I think she does a phenomenal job with her content.
Yes.
And I believe in it. I get asked all the time about it. So I thought, I'll help you out, Marie. And yeah, I'll take the affiliate link. And for any business, you guys, you can literally on Instagram, in the photo, I could probably find a florist that if I took a photo of this, posted it on Instagram, put it into Shopify, you could tap and click and order it. And I would earn commission from that.
Mhm.
That is what
Now,
Shopify does.
I do have some of that with my classes and with my schooling in that, the trades and so I'm definitely going to be on Shopify. That's
Yes,
a bet.
that you need to do a Shopify integration with your Instagram account, number one. And I can send you, will you send them to Top Figure, Amy? My guys that are in Minnesota. I love these two guys that founded Top Figure. They specialize in Amazon stores and Shopify, and they're just freaking awesome guys.
Awesome.
Tell them I sent you. Okay. I
Yes,
love
yes.
these two. And so they will help you. And they will even they will probably talk your grandson through it. They also offer super inexpensive courses, but they will, trust me, I'm sure they've got free content to help you set it up. But there is
Thank you.
but I want you to think about, how do I show everybody the work I'm doing? Even if it's like you sitting in the front seat, here she is working on her stuff. Like, that's what you want out in the world. And then here's the other thing I want everybody to hear me loud and clear. Only 5% of the people that follow you see your content on social media. 5%. Keep reposting the things that do well.
Yes, yes.
So when you get really good installations or before and afters, repost them every month. Because 95% of your audience didn't see it. And if you like other people's work, repost their stuff and call out to, hey, here's here, one of my favorite designers, so-and-so, give her the credit. You can even put that into Shopify and sell the lamp in her design.
Awesome. 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 And here's the thing. It's great. I originally wrote in last night about how do you keep your motivation going? Like you as a person, me being a mother of two, they're gone, but now I have the 4 grands. But in all honesty, from me being on this call, maybe 30 minutes ahead of time, but from me being on this call this long, oh my gosh, the motivation is already set up. It's already there. It was just the extra click. And like I said, with B School, it was the marketing piece. It was really, because my website is up. That's been it's beautiful. It's things that I need to update on it. I need to make it more personalized so that they can know who I am, because I sell me every day.
Yep.
And basically you answered the question from everybody answered it for me.
Think about your Instagram as your HGTV channel.
Gotcha. Now that I can do.
There's no doubt in my mind you can do that. Like, it's about because when you're in business, everybody, think about your channel as your outbound. This is your TV show. This is your billboard. This is your whatever genre you're in, this is your event. In terms of if you're a coach and you want to be a motivational speaker, every time you post something, you are advertising what you do and who you are in the world. Think about it from an outbound standpoint. And the second that you get into your mind that stuff that you're posting is not for friends and family.
Exactly.
If they like that stuff, great. But if they don't, no big deal. Because you are putting it out so that people who are looking for that can find you.
Great. Yes. That is definitely great information, Mel. I thank you.
Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed that video, by God, please subscribe because I don't want you to miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here. We've got so much amazing stuff coming. Thank you so much for sending this stuff to your friends and your family. I love you. We create these videos for you. So make sure you subscribe. Mwah.